Good morning, everyone. Uh, Hope everybody's doing good this morning. Hope not going too stir crazy, being stuck in the house all the time. It's it's been almost a little bit over a month that I've been home. It's a little rough some days. All right, we are on Code and Practices 2, Level 2. This is mostly going to be in chapter 3. Like all day, we're going to be in mostly in chapter 3 of the code book, talking about Conduit, talking about cables, talking about uh, all sorts of other stuff. Uh, Still missing a couple people. Uh, if you haven't gone to the Socrative yet, if you're one of the couple people that hasn't gone on Socrative and started the quiz, that's like the only thing we're requiring of you. So please do that. Uh, I should probably send out some messages to those people. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to poke these people, see if I can get them going. It's a pretty short quiz. You can just blow through it really quick. Uh, One of the things for today, if you're not gonna watch everything today, uh, the lessons 5 and 6 quizzes have on the blended learning website have a additional thing uh, to look at. I'm just gonna do the search. All right, messages sent out. Uh, if you want to keep track along with me, you can watch this number. If it goes up, they logged on. Again, this first quiz is how I take the roll. So if you don't do the first quiz, you're not here. All right. The metric designators and trade sizes are for identification purposes only and are not actual dimensions as pointed out in note to table. So questions like these are really easy because it gives you 4 places in the code book to look, and one of them is going to be where it says the answer. Um, I've never used this table like anytime, like even to answer code questions. It's a it's just a list of the standard conduit sizes. And even at this point, y'all should have a pretty good idea of what the standard conduit sizes are. Uh, you should be at least better than 50-50 on, like, hey, is this a normal conduit size? Yeah, yeah, it is. Or no, no, it isn't. All right. Now, if you were trying to do something and convert from metric to standard conduit sizes, that chart would work. It would be really nice to have that chart. I have no idea where you would actually buy conduit by their metric designator. Raceway is defined in the NEC as an enclosed channel designed expressly for holding wires, cables, or bus bars with additional functions as permitted in this code. And that's a definition. It's in Article 100. Pretty straightforward. No worries there. What is the article for IMC? 342. This, another simple one. Table of contents level stuff. Flip through the table of contents, look for intermediate metal conduit. And that's going to give you your 342. Was the article for PVC? Same thing, except the code book calls PVC rigid polyvinyl chloride. And then in parentheses it says PVC. A lot of people will just look for polyvinyl chloride. And they won't find it because it's rigid polyvinyl chloride. It's a small difference, but will like speed you up with just the touch actually knowing what the thing is called. So, all of the conduit articles and all of the cable assembly articles, we'll touch on that in a minute. All the conduit and cable assembly articles are laid out in the same exact way. So if you look at 384 or 376 or 360 or any number of other articles in the code book, they are all laid out exactly the same way. 384.10 covers uses permitted. 376.10 also uses permitted. And that lets you compare and contrast different conduit sizes or conduit types pretty easily because you can look at the same numbers in every single one of them. And part 3 is construction specifications. Table 300.5, we're going to come back to that a lot. You're going to see that table so often. Because it's really important how deep you bury stuff. Because other people come in and they have to bury their stuff at a certain depth also. And your stuff needs to be at the right depth. And one of the things, if you bury it at the wrong depth, you have to pull everything out and bury it at the right depth. That is a thing they will inspect on a lot of jobs, is when you have underground, how deep is it to the top of the pipe. I know they did on my job. They wouldn't let me, or on my house, they wouldn't let me bury my conduit until they came out and measured it. The requirement that all cut ends of PVC be trimmed. So that's in part 2, installation. Installation is where all the installation requirements are. All your supporting requirements. If there is a minimum bending radius, then that will be there also. All sorts of stuff. Watch live. Oh, tornado damage in Polk County. Where type IMC conduit is being bent into a radius of a certain size, the critical measurement is always made from the center point of the radius to the center line of the conduit. If you remember at the end of the year last year, and you may not remember because it was the end of the year last year, whenever we were doing concentric bends or long radius 90s, we were measuring to the center line of the conduit. That's what we're talking about here. Is whenever you're bending a long radius, the radius is measured to the center of the conduit. center line. I don't know what manufacturer it is, but we have a handful of, like, every once in a while we'll order Conduit and we'll get it. It's Conduit that has like a ridge on one side of it, like it's engraved. Probably not engraved. It's probably molded that way or something. I don't know. I don't know how they make it. They make Conduit, but it's printed on the conduit with a line with inch marks all the way down the conduit. It's really neat. Uh, I've never used it to actually like speed myself up. I've always used my tape measure, but I imagine that you could do, because out in the real world you don't have to be like dead on accurate. So if you were like, I need a 4 inch offset, you could be like, okay, well from there to there is 8 inches, and you bend, and you're done. Because it was already marked on the conduit. I think that would be really cool. This is installation requirements of PVC. It's pretty straightforward. Any building exceeding 3 floors. Let's see where type of conduit is. Electrical non-metallic tubing. So we're going to go to electrical non-metallic tubing. We'll read our question. It looks like this is installation requirements. Installation requirements is part 2. I would go to this article and find this requirement and see what part you're in. But if you know that, oh yeah, this has to do with installing the conduit, that's got to be part 2. All right. I will, I'm going to stay on stream for just a moment longer. Uh, Let me pull up the Blended Learning website. While I've got some of you here, Danny, Kyle, and I have been talking about how we're going to actually get grades if we are uh, going to be out for much longer. We are going to have to work out somehow to get grades. I'm going to be working up tests for everything coming up. There for lessons 1 through 4, there are no online things. Like, you don't need to log in, but for 5 and 6, you can see there is a courseware down here, a reference, an online reference. Anyway, back to the testing. Uh, we will see, like, we're still working on it. We can't do online testing is the main thing. So somehow I'm going to make tests. You guys are going to get those tests and take them and get them back to us. I don't know what form that's going to take right this second, but it's a thing that's going to happen. Probably by y'all's next class, we'll have it all worked out and happening. So expect to be hearing something from the school before your next class. Probably by the Monday before your next class is when we'll have something ready. But we'll be working on that coming up to that point. All right, it's just about 9 o'clock. I'm gonna get off of here. I will be taking the Socrative down at 9 o'clock and putting up the new one. So be ready to take the new one. All right, you guys have a good next couple hours.